I doubt that like members of the original surrealism movement would see what I do or what I see like fellow students of mine who are also into this neo-surrealist style do. I doubt that they would see it as a continuation, at least in my case, because there was a really big emphasis on dreams and on the subconscious in there, and that differs from what I think I do my paintings. It's more about the stuff that keeps on coming and is on in the front of your mind and not in the subconscious. And that's why I think it's a different process.
For me, it's I would never think about those surrealists. When I'm doing my work, I don't feel like I'm continuing the work of somebody else, of history, not at all. But I sometimes think that maybe we are in a similar time. It was at the beginning of the century, now we are at the same time of the new century, and maybe people now start to think more inside. It's not just watching outside. What I see, that's what I paint. And the psychology is again very important. Well, what do you feel? Who am I? What do I dream? What do I think? What do I feel? And all this is getting more and more important. And the question is why it is like this. And I'm just a kid of my time, maybe. But now we have time to think about those things. We have no war directly here where we live. It's like the new topic for us is what is in my mind. Yeah, that what I would say. For me, it's like that. That the most interesting thing. I have traveled through the world and I've seen many things. But the most important is how do I see it through my glasses. And if I see a flower, there is here a flower, and we. Four of us and everybody would see another flower. And why? And that's the main importance for me now. It's like how we are now. It's a thing I have to do. No? I don't think about it. It's just the thing that's coming out of me.
But still, surrealism is or has certain elements to it, so you can define surrealism. Which elements would you say are part of your neo-surrealism or your art? So, for instance, you mentioned that you mentioned dreams, that dreams or subconsciousness is part of it, or that you have certain symbols which you find in classical surrealism. So where would you say are the surrealistic elements in your work? Elements.
I heard animals. I was like, okay. Yeah, elements. In my work, I don't work with dreams, actually. It was usual for surrealists, but I don't work with dreams. I'm more turning reality in the dreams. So I connect something which I know from reality and something also what is maybe on the border between the reality and fantasy. And so, I don't know, there is like, I paint like flying person, and you are not sure if it's like flying, falling, or jumping. Is it like a miracle, or is it like still possible? And I try to be like playful with this, so I'm more turning like reality in this like dreams, yeah, or some magical happenings. Yeah, that's main.
I think that the interest in the psyche of the people or of oneself, this psychological interest, is also something, or a similarity between what I do and this original surrealism. This occupation with dreams, I think, also stems from the Freudian thing that was that was the state of the science at the time, and it's very, very dated nowadays. But this mental health topic it's very contemporary, and yeah, and that's probably the biggest similarity that I see.
Yes, and another thing for me important is the surrealists work like they tried to don't think so much consciously, but just let it happen, just let the flow, like let my hands paint without control of the consciousness, like another part of your mind painting or writing. I write a lot as well. And it's like a trip in your own ideas. It's like to be surprised what is in your head a little bit, no? I don't know how it's for you, but for me it's like sometimes I'm surprised what I'm painting, because if you don't plan a painting, say I want to paint this, for me it's like this, I just let it go, I let my hands just surprise myself, then suddenly there is something I never decided. It's like something else giving me this. I don't know from where it's coming, but I think for me it's super funny. I have a lot of fun just waiting or just doing. While I'm doing, the things are falling down into my paintings or writings, and I think this is very surrealistic. No, the process is surrealistic, and. Maybe it was at the time of Einstein as well, and all the physicists. And today, many people also read a lot about quantum physics, things like that. Or Hawkins also said that maybe we are. It's very interesting for me, this topic. Maybe we are only like a movie, like we are the directors of our movie, of our life. This is not reality. This is just energy, and then everything could be different. And I like to play with this. I paint a lot of a room from inside is at the same time a room from outside, or something is falling and flying up, or you don't know what it is, and I turn around reality that you never know really what it is, and then I cut everything and hide more, just to flip reality. And I think this is also very surrealistic. It's a similar process, but what you see at the end is different from what we are doing now. But the process maybe is the same.
So, Sofia, you actually jumped already into my next question, which is good. No, it's perfect. So, yeah, there are symbols and elements you're using, but the process is obviously the most important to create art. That's clear. And probably the symbols and elements are kind of mechanisms or things you look at, but the process as such is what creates your artwork. And so Sofia already said how she is actually working on her pieces of art. So how would you both say? Are you also spontaneous and with your intuitive to get things done? So as you also described this as a kind of an automatism that you actually don't control. Or would you say it's something you initiate and it's something you first think about and then you put it down on paper or canvas?
And there is always also this question where you search for inspiration, yeah? And there is nothing like this actually. It's similar like with falling in love, yeah? It's when you search for the one, he's not there, yeah? She's not there. And once you stop searching, then it's there, yeah? It's appear. And it can happen in, you are somewhere on the walk, or you talk with someone, you see some scene, and that's it, and you know you want it, and it's kind of also like intuition, that it's good, yeah? And this is very important to use this intuition. That's one of the main things which we have like artists, like human beings, intuition, yeah? And so usually I'm in art very visual type on the beginning, I have to admit, yeah? I'm not like conceptual artist who put a piece of paper somewhere and tell them this is a mind, and then let everybody think about it. I need some very good like visual stuff on the beginning, and I usually like fall in love with this. So it's some movement or some light, something which it's like, wow, this I want, and then it's like really like obsession, and it's like really like with the falling in love freshly, yeah. You are mad about the thing, you want it, you just want to do it, you're getting crazy, yeah. You're getting crazy actually, and. It's obsession, and it's there, and this is like this first look on the scene, and then it's like, okay, I have to actually check if it's fitting with me, if it's fitting with my story, if we understand each other, yeah, and then it's like thinking, okay, what is the story behind, what is the meaning, and if it's making sense. And usually I'm not like just a realistic or hyper-realistic painter who would be satisfied to just copy a photograph. I need to turn it to something, yeah, and add some more symbols or more stories, and it has to be something which like resonates with something in my life now, with some story which is happening. It's kind of like diary. All my paintings is like kind of like diary, yeah. And when it's like both, when it's this visual thing and this resonation, this story, then I think, okay, I will do it. I will go for it and do it. And usually like my paintings, they take a lot of time, so I have to decide before if it's worth it. And usually I have like several ideas in line already. So when it's coming in several months or sometimes years, that I finally coming to this idea which I had before, and it's still good, and it's still this obsession, I still need it, and then I do it, and I know that it's good, yeah. So and then it's I continue, yeah, like. Then you have to be a bit patient, because I quite paint realistic. So then I have to be like patient and just do it step by step till the end, yeah. And it's like moments when the painting it's that you're enjoying it really, and it's great. But there are also sometimes difficulties, and you're fighting with something, and sometimes you delete something which you, or sometimes you add something which you did not plan, because you're working on all piece somehow in one moment. Should be like everything in the same finish process, yeah. And I think that the most difficult is actually the start, yeah, and to find the correct thing which you will do. But even more difficult is to stop in the right moment, yeah. And that's usually when you start doing first mistake, or because in the oil painting, I do oil painting, then it's like several layers, yeah, and you paint one over the other, so they are the things disappearing from the first sketch. You do first sketch, and then it's like disappearing behind these layers and so on. And sometimes it happens that you don't want to destroy it anymore, you don't want to add anything anymore. It's already like this, perfect, maybe with some imperfection, which making it like alive, but you're coming to the point, okay, that's it, I can't do it better, yeah, and then you leave it, and then it's like this little moment of satisfaction, like, wow, and then it's like, okay, what's the next? And start the new one, yeah.
No problem. That was captivating. What really resonated with me was the obsession that you talked about, this feeling of obsession, because often when I'm in the atelier, or when I have the option or the question, what will I do with my day, then I think, well, if I'm going to obsess over a thing at home, if I would stay there and occupy myself with something else, but have it always on my mind at the same time, keeping me from really being aware during what I'm doing. If that's the case, then I can also go and paint it, and I can go and make something out of it, and have this awareness, this Achtsamkeit during it. And I'm also familiar with what you talked about, this working from association, that you kind of feel like you do something because it has to be done, or it just feels right. I really plan out my paintings. They're really constructed stages or plays. That's how I feel. But once the construction is done and the basic drawing is there, how the painting develops is a natural process of associations and intuition. So I think that's very essential to painting, no matter from what direction you come from a technical standpoint or from a more spiritual way of engaging with it.
Super interesting for me as well. Thank you. For me, my process is always with a lot of layers, but not like with the oil painting. It's different. It's like layers of status of mind. It's like at the beginning I begin with very transparent paint, like very emotional, like I do whatever, and then sometimes I paint on photography, so in the mixture with the photography or with the first layer with the second, it's like a cloud. It's like you recognize scenes, and then I find, like looking at the clouds, like, oh wow, there is the dog, and beside the dog there is a flower or whatever, and I recognize, like, and I have to laugh a lot because I find like stories, and the next day I find another story in the same place. It's just, you see that what you see in this moment, and I love this game a little bit. It's like a play for me to do that, and then I write really without a filter. I write like everything, and that's why I started to destroy my paintings. I paint on paper because it's so much without a filter, and I enjoy so much to do something without filter, absolutely, that I had to destroy it to gain this feeling of total freedom, because nobody's going to see it. And so for me the process is just for me. I have paintings, but I also have this paperworks that I feel so free doing it, and this freedom is only possible if I destroy it at the end. And then I cut everything, and from these cut pieces I build up new constructions, like new gardens or new things. I don't know, it's like difficult to explain. It's like from cut pieces I do new things, and sometimes I show like very strange beings or something I painted. You can see it, sometimes not, sometimes I just destroy it. But this is my process, and I want the absolute freedom. I want to reach a state of dream in reality. That's what I seek and what I love.
Okay, this is quite abstract, like your art probably, and very psychological and also touching emotions. Yeah, so you were saying passion, occupation, feelings inside. I want to destroy it because I don't want anybody to actually read what I've been writing, very personal things. So what about the outside? What is influencing your art from outside? What is in a positive, but maybe also in a negative way? So what is stopping you from being in this process or being creative? So what is pushing you? What is inspiring you? But what again is there from the outside that stops you to be able to get into this kind of mental mood? Yeah?
Honestly, kids. No, I have two small boys, 3 years old and 5 years old, so that's a bit of a disturbing element, something which stopping me sometimes from art, but it's getting better now since they are in kindergarten. Yeah, but it's joke, I know how you mean it. Actually, challenge of our times, it's really like all these social platforms, these social media, these Instagrams and so on, because sometimes I think that from year to year, from century to century, it's more and more difficult to be like original, kind of, yeah. And in these days, when you are connected with all world, not just with some of your neighbors from your city who are also painters, but from all world, and sometimes when you just scrolling this Instagram or something and you see like fantastic things and it can inspire you, and I also spoke with my colleagues, yes, sometimes it's like inspiring, but and lots of times it can be also very disturbing and stopping you from these processes, because you see like, wow, and this they all do, and so fantastic, I can do it better. And then you feel sometimes so like small, because you see like it's millions, it's like never-ending masses of this, yeah. And sometimes it's like really scary, yeah. Sometimes, and also, yeah, it's really scary sometimes. But then on the end, you're coming again to yourself and to your passion, and to the thing that actually you can't stop yourself to not. It's unstoppable. You have to do it. You have to do it in your own way. Yeah. And again, where is the inspiration? Yeah. You ask like, what's inspiring us? It's everything. Yeah. But basically it's like a life. I think you have to live and create art from your own sources. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not authentic. Otherwise, it's. This is actually only thing which you have, your inner side, your experiences, your life experiences, your who you are, yeah? And it's the only thing you can offer the world, yeah? You can't offer, I can't offer here idea of Fabian. I would be very bad in that to offer an idea of how you create the art, yeah? I could not transmit it, yeah? I can only transmit my story, who is Jana and so on, and my sources, yeah? Because on the end, this is only what you have, yeah? It's only what you have.
Yeah, I also feel like that's very true, that you offering yourself, try to be authentic in what you do, that is the more that's a more true way to do it than picking out some kind of topic that I want to comment on. If you are really devoted to that, if you have a political cause as something that just makes you angry, that you want to change, then that's authentic, then that's true, then that's what you should put into the art. But if it's something else on your mind occupying you, then that's probably what you should put in there. Yeah.
Yes, this is very important, to be authentic and to be inspired from the inner self. But I also, because I also had kids, well, they are grown up now, but I know this thing. And now my new kid is HAAM, all the organization, and I love it. It's my new love, but it takes time from me. And it's another part in my brain. It's like this is the very organized and responsible part, and I need the irresponsible part. I love to be irresponsible, and then I have to go somewhere where I can be irresponsible and just like a kid, something like that. And then I go to the woods or to nature or something like that to really, or lie down. I go also always into the woods, but not on the way. I go into the woods, like really into the trees, and lie down like between in the moss, like a kid. And there I just like, I ground. And this helps me a lot to go again into the part of my brain. This is a little bit more like a kid. I'm a little bit more from inside, just. And yes, this is what I always, when I have problems to find myself again, then I do that. Something like that.
I hope it's okay if I come back for this, because I have to admit that I completely blanked when I got the microphone, and I didn't remember the question. But this kind of situation is the thing that inspires me. It's interpersonal things. It's interaction between people, all the subtleties, the unspoken rules, the things that you can't really articulate when you interact with someone, which are there, the nuances of it. That's what gives me this fascination, this energy. I think the interaction between individuals is the most fascinating thing in the world, even though there are so many crazy natural phenomena and so on. But the interaction between two people, that's what inspires me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's the personal story of people and the sharing with each other, and this is very important too. I think. I also like these stories when somebody going through some difficulties and so on, and they manage on the end, and it's super inspiring. Such stories I love also.
Talking about inspiration. It's also very interesting to know what you actually want to say with your artwork. So not only what is inspiring you to get into the process, and now you told us how the process looks like, what you need to do to get inspired or to get into this work and to kind of deep dive into what you're doing. But what is it what you want to express with your art? What needs to be seen? What is your message? Especially if we're talking about surrealism or neo-surrealism, is it rather kind of an escape from all this reality that is pretty negative or that is frightening? Or is it more or less a kind of a way to being critical and to express criticism? Or is it something completely else?
I would like to get in some deep philosophical talking, but I can't now. I'm quite simple. I don't have any big artist agenda, way how I will change all the world and the world of art and so on. That's quite big. I'm happy when I see people when they react on at least react on my paintings. At least react. Yeah, this is already good. Yeah, this is already good. And then that I see that something moved them inside. Yeah, that something touched them. That maybe it's something which is also connected with their life, and also about the interpretation of the paintings. I'm quite liberal in this. Because people sometimes asking me, what does it mean? What does it mean? Tell me, and so on. Yeah? And sometimes it's really personal stories, and I don't want to share with everyone, or you can't. Yeah, but even if you share, I like to first ask also Peter, and what do you think? Yeah, because I'm also curious, and you can actually discover a lot about people, what they think in that particular moment about the painting. What does it mean for them? This I really love to discover. Sometimes it's really interesting, yeah. It's not like judging them people or something. It's more like curiosity, yeah, and discovering who they are and so on. So I like this when it's touch them somehow inside, yeah. I wanted to add something, but now I forgot. Yeah, maybe I will remember them later. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that for me it's exactly escapism, but when you don't follow an agenda, if you don't have a definite meaning that you can bring out there, then you kind of offer yourself to criticism of being trivial or just decorative in the end. And that's something I thought a lot about, and which made me insecure. And that's also, when you talk about the surrealism from 100 years ago, they were extremely political, and they were extremely engaging with anti-fascism and with anti-capitalism, and they had an idea how they wanted to change mindsets in all of society, and it did make an impact in the long run. But during their time, for some of them, it must have felt like as if they have failed when Nazis rose and so on. But today we are in a similar time with like anti-capitalism, anti-fascism. That's getting more and more relevant every day. And also with climate change. I think that's probably the point where I can most like connect with. The big conflicts don't inspire me so much like the personal interactions, but with climate change, I'm really fascinated with biology and with life, and I try to awaken that in someone who looks at the painting as well, that they see and maybe share in this fascination for the organic that I put in there, and that goes for me with together with this thought about like the dying of the species and so on, that I try to share an appreciation for this nature, and maybe that's a little bit how I can like put a drop of water into this stream, trying to make an impact on the climate change issue. Yeah, but it's a small thing, but that's something that moves me, and that I hope that people can get out of there, this fascination for life and natural life here.
Yeah, that is interesting that you talk about that, because I think sometimes that art is a kind of code we can use. We can hide messages behind a painting, and only the right person is going to understand it. And if you're not meant to understand, you will not see what you mean. And sometimes we look at the old paintings from the old surrealists or realists, and we now understand what they meant. But I don't know if people in their time, all of them understood that. And we also, we have an instrument, we can hide really hard or very strong meaning, I don't know how to say it, strong messages, we can hide them. And if people are watching at the piece of art, if it's hidden, you start to think, what could it be? Can it be? And then it's a very strong tool to open the mind of the people, because if you hide it, if you show it like this, very easy, sometimes it's not so strong as if you hide it, because if you hide it, you start to think and you start to question, is it like I think or not? And then your mind is starting, and that's what I like of surrealistic art, because it's not so clear. Because if you have a normal thing you can see out of the window, it's normal, but if you create like strange situations, you have to think like, what is the artist is thinking? Why does he paint that? What was the thought behind it? And then you look in your thoughts. The people who is looking at it, they look in their own thoughts, and that's what I find so fascinating. I'm not doing it because of that, but I love if that happens, that people start to think, and if I can open a little door somewhere.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to add that I also like when or what is important, that this fascination of people that it's possible to create still something with your own hands, yeah, like in the time of the artificial intelligence and so on. I mean, that's also a very big topic, and I like this, that there are still people fascinated by, okay, this is possible to paint, and it's really like touch them, and it's like really something deep humanic, yeah, which like going in your bones, in your like really roots, yeah, humanic roots, and this is also like very big message of all of us artists, yeah, like just continue this, and yeah, support the culture, support this humanism and everything, yeah.
Thank you for all these actually very personal and open statements and description towards your art. I think it's slowly getting dark, and we have discussed a lot from historical 100 years surrealism to what it is today, what it means to you, how you are creating your work, what is doing with your creativity, with your own thoughts and emotions, how people react on your work. So a lot of very different angles how to look actually on neo-surrealistic art. Coming to an end now, I'm very, very happy if each of you could just drop a line, send one message that is important for you as an artist and for your work.
I'm a bit sad that it's on the end. I started enjoying it. I think what is the most important now in art is really like freedom. Yeah, to have freedom of express of whatever. It's a bit sad that people are actually also killed for freedom of speech or for paint some caricature and so on. And I think that we should just keep this freedom of expression of whatever. And if you look here in this room, it's like really wide, and it's really many different opinions, many different approach and so on, many different stories, and we should never lose this opportunity to express ourselves, how we are and what is important. Yeah. So I think that the most important is freedom. Yeah.
Thank you. This message, I got an idea, and it came up again. And during this talk we had before this year about democratization of art, because like social media is this tool that's very powerful for this, to just be able to show yourself. But I also notice with fellow students and conversations we're having at university that there's an awareness for the issue of, oh, I have to be productive. I have to make should I, or maybe I don't have content, don't have something that I can upload this week, what should I do? And I feel like that's a threat to the quality in the end of the art, because art should take the time that it needs, and it shouldn't be just, it shouldn't just fall under the tide of content. It should be able to take time. And if someone devotes hours and hours on every day, and after a year has one painting, and another person does the same and like produces 100, in the end they they put the same amount of effort in, just with different results, and the 100 paintings might seem more productive to a market. Yeah, but that's. I hope that young artists, or not just young artists, all artists who try to find their way into making a living of this, that they don't feel pressured in the end by algorithms and so on, and that they can work independently from that, and that we as observers of that and users of things like Instagram and so on, that we remind ourselves consciously of also looking at those who can't be productive in this material mass production sense. Yeah.
Yes, this is very important. Also for HAAM, this is always important to support all kinds of people, artists. And for me, the most important is very, very difficult to answer, but maybe also it's like the authenticity and connected with freedom, that you really, as an artist, are allowed and can just express freely what you feel, just also to be an invitation for all other people to think free. Because if we artists, we are not free, who is it? Yeah, it's like we have to be free a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the audience or any remarks? So I enjoyed it very much, and it's just not surrealism, it's just a really wide way of approaching art or personal impressions. Thank you very much.